Hey, this is God's Bob. We're talking about Necrons. Okay, today it's about the special characters of the Necron army, the Deceiver and Nightbringer, otherwise known as the Catan. Now, you're only allowed one Catan per army. Even in Apocalypse, because they're special characters, you're only allowed one of each. The only way you could get one of each, both in an army, is if there's two of you playing and each one takes one and you're allied. They are very expensive. They don't count as Necrons, meaning that you don't count to phase out. So, yeah. I mean, the Nightbringer is 360 points and the Deceiver is 300 points. Nightbringer being the one that looks like death, and Deceiver being the one that's all gold. They share a bunch of special rules, and I'll run through them now. They get Monstrous Creature, but because they're all powerful and godlike, they ignore armor saves vulnerable armor saves as well. Immune to natural law, meaning that they ignore all terrain, like Wraith Flight, and strike in initiative order, because they count as having like frag grenades. They have Necron, or Necrodermis, which gives them a 4+ invulnerable save, and if reduced to all 0 wounds, then the Necrodermis is breached and the Catan is released. To symbolise this in-game, any models under the range of the Catan, that's d6 inches away from the Catan, to take a strength 6 hit with no armor save possible. One I have to mention here is that if a Wraith Cannon inflicts instant death on Catan, it will not be transported to the warp, but will take a wound without the benefit of invulnerable saving throw. And any Catan phase swords or knives that are used against the Catan are absorbed into the Necrodermis and then disarm the attacker, meaning that they have like less one attack, I think. Also, Drain Life, which is quite useful actually. Anything that would normally like regenerate health or wounds, that is, through pieces of war gear or something, like Arcane effects using regenerate, to get wounds back. If they're struck by a Catan and reduced to 0 wounds by the Catan, they don't get to regenerate any wounds, which makes it quite useful if you've got someone using bionics or Nartheciums or Exsanguinators or whatever there is. I don't know. I'm just reading bits out of the codex. Right, also, Manifestation. Now this is quite useful actually. Any unit that wishes to assault the Catan has to take a leadership test. If they fail, they can't assault. That's anything, not just the Catan. If they fail to pass the leadership test, they can't assault anything that turn, which is very powerful and very good. They get Above All Others, meaning that anything can pick them out, even if there's a closer target within 6 inches. They can always choose to shoot the Catan. Of course, this relies on like line of sight and stuff, but anyway. And range. Yeah, and they're fearless. Now, both Catan have all these rules in common, and that is something you have to remember. They are two different play styles. The Nightbringer has a slightly more powerful stat line than the Deceiver. I mean, they're both very powerful, but the Nightbringer's a lot more melee oriented. I suppose he's also got the shooting attack, but he's mainly a melee specialist. If he rushes into combat, he's like 6 attacks, strength 10. They're just insanely powerful. Yeah, Nightbringer's more offensive. The Deceiver's more defensive. He uses his special rules that are specific to him to like reorganize your forces or make the opponent run away and cause them to flee and stuff, and just mainly just more defensive and causing the enemy to run away and stuff. Yeah. 2 very different playing styles. In later videos, or the next 2 videos I'm going to be doing, they're going to be about the 2 different Catan specifically. The Nightbringer will be first, then the Deceiver. Yeah. They've got loads and loads of fluff to go with them. I'll tell you about their stat lines. They're very powerful. Even though one's more oriented to combat, they're both very powerful in combat. They both hold their own in combat quite easily. One has strength 10, the other strength 9. Both have toughness 8, meaning that unless you have like strength 5, then you can't really wound them at all. And that's what I'm going to be doing in my next couple of videos. Stay tuned and hail the Catan. They are awesome. But pricey.